Today, House Republicans are wrapping up their big soul-searching party retreat in Williamsburg, Virginia. And what an educational experience it's been for the GOP. On day one, they got advice on how to remake their brand from the CEO of Domino's Pizza. Deep dish or thin and crispy? Which way will the GOP go? Only time will tell. On day two, they got advice on winning from the man who lost to President Obama, Paul Ryan. And today, a seminar titled A Discussion on Successful Communication with Minorities and Women. And who did they recruit to teach those House Republicans all about the strange and frightening world of minorities and women? 3 white men. I'm serious. Half of the panel on how to talk to women and minorities was made up of white men. You can't make this stuff up. These Republicans still don't know how to talk to women? Seriously? What is this, a 7th grade dance? Oh, listen, it's the GOP's theme song. It's Raining Men. Come on, guys, talking to women isn't so hard. Don't be such a wallflower, Speaker Boehner. Don't be afraid. Just give it a shot. Go out and ask for a dance. You can do it. You can do it, Majority Leader Cantor. Go ask for a spin around the gymnasium. Listen, folks, tips on how to talk to women and minorities aren't going to do the Republicans any good if they don't change their policies. They can't just talk the talk. They have to walk the walk. And until Republicans change their policies, they'll keep striking out. Joining me now is Dana Milbank, political columnist for the Washington Post, and Margie O'Mara, a Democratic strategist. Thanks to both of you for being here tonight.
Hi, Reverend. Thank you,
Reverend. Margie, do Republicans really think they can learn to sweet-talk women and minorities to win their support?
Well, they certainly have a lot of ground to make up. I mean, they tried this strategy, their talk about rape a lot strategy, and it was clearly unsuccessful. They lost a lot of seats. It cost them a lot with women voters. Mitt Romney lost. He had a wider gap, gender gap, even with white women. He and obviously had huge losses with minority voters. So I think they should really look at, really bring some women to the table. I mean, there are a lot of really great Republican women who can lead the way, who can say, look, we can be for lower taxes, we can be for less spending, at the same time not sound hostile to women and minority voters. It is possible. And I don't know if they can figure it out in one day, but it is possible. That's something they really need to work on.
Dana, when you look at the exit polling from November's election, Republicans lost African Americans by 87 points. Lost Hispanics by 44 points. Lost single women by 36 points. If you were in Williamsburg, what would you tell them? How do you turn this around?
Well, here's what I wouldn't have done, Reverend Al, is they had the session on reaching out to minorities, and they held it in a room named for a slave plantation, which the only thing better than that would be if they had the breakout sessions after that in the George Wallace Salon and then all retired to lunch in the Bull Connor Ballroom. It is the tone-deaf aspect of this was extraordinary, but the whole concept here seems to be if they can just change the message a little bit, they'll be able to sell the policies to women, to Latinos, to African Americans. But it's not a matter of dressing it up and putting on pretty colors and a bow on it. It's the policy that's gotten them into trouble, particularly as regards immigration and Latinos. It's very obviously the policy, and it's having these prominent Republicans out there talking about rape babies that is and other items like that is killing them with women voters. So it's not a matter of dressing it up. It's a matter of what the policies are.
Now, you see, Margie, even the conservative women are speaking out against their party. The right-wing Independent Women's Forum held a panel this week about the GOP women problem. Talking Points memo reports most women on the panel expressed exasperation that despite being 53% of voters in the last election, the Republican Party was failing to reach out to women. They seem to be in agreement that the problem was more than just a few bad lemons who had ruined things for everyone else. That's interesting. Women in the party, as you said. You said there were good women in the party. Even some of the women are complaining. And the policies are the war on women, not just the makeup of the appearances, the policies.
Right, absolutely. Look, I work in this business, and other women I know work in this business, whether you're Democrat or Republican or someplace in the middle. You can tell when you're in a room of people who don't really understand women, and it's not simply about how many women are at the table. It's not simply a checklist. And by having, lukewarm, not very well-received rollout of their new language about women, just a week after you had yet another Republican talk about rape in this incredibly offensive way, someone who's on a Republican House Doctors Caucus, of all things. I mean, they really, this couldn't have come a moment too soon. I mean, they really are really struggling. And I don't think that one session is really enough, because their policies and the very caucus that they have now is just so far to the right.
Dana, the Republicans have now backed down on this debt ceiling fight and talking about extending 3 months. They blinked. What happened, Dana?
Well, I wouldn't bring out the champagne just yet, Reverend. It's basically retreating so they can live to fight another day. There is a whole lot of strength in this Republican House majority for digging in on the debt and having a real fight. They're just picking their battle here. I think we're going to get this apocalyptic showdown. We just may be able to
Why
relax
are they waiting
for
3 months? Why the delay?
Well, look, they can look at the polls and know that the president has the advantage here. It was probably a dumb fight to pick in the first place. There are all kinds of other opportunities here, whether it's the debt limits, whether it's a government shutdown. There are all kinds of opportunities for them to gum up the works, and I think you can count on that happening.
Margie, do you think in the 3-month delay they're going to try and turn public opinion their way, or they're going to try to pick other fights and build a momentum?
This is another situation where you have Republicans really not reading the sense of the country, not reading public opinion well at all. Most Americans want to see the president and Congress come to the table and work together. You see the president's numbers rebounding and have gone up since before the election and continue to go up. They're as strong as he's ever been. And you have Republicans now having terrible numbers, and they're just getting worse. They're certainly not getting better with all these fights. And you had Republicans a few days ago say, well, shutting down the government is something we need to get out of our system, as if it's bad food poisoning, and saying that, we want to show voters that we're fighting, as if that's what voters are clamoring for. You know what we want? We want more fighting. That is just the opposite lesson to learn from this election.
Dana, as people are heading into Washington this weekend for the election, we're hearing that it may not, for the inauguration, not the election, we're hearing it may not be the numbers we saw before, but there seems to be a building up of excitement again.
Well, you can see everything getting prepared, the reviewing stands and the bleachers. There are people coming to town, but you cannot compare this to that magical feeling of 4 years ago. I think there's a lot of disillusionment and, 4 years of a rough economy. Americans are not as optimistic as they had been, but look, we can still throw a pretty good party in this town, so come on down.
Dana Milbank and Margie O'Mara, thanks for your time this evening.
Thank you.